Hey guys, this is Thomas from Stylized Station. First off, I want to say thank you so much for picking up this video. It's really awesome to see how many people are so supportive and so excited to learn and share all the cool stuff we have. So it's been so much fun, and I cannot wait to show you guys more videos and tutorials. We've got tons of stuff coming out. Um, so this is what you guys purchased this for. This is the stylized energy crystal that I'm going to be showing you how to make. So obviously, you guys are here to learn. You could have just probably simply bought the material, but you bought the actual video that came with it as well. So I'm going to be showing you some really cool tricks and how complicated a material really can be. This looks so simple, but there is a lot going on under the surface, and there's a lot going on with it that you wouldn't even really notice in the first place. But it's those kind of small things that really mesh together to create a beautiful object. So I'll be showing you some tips, tricks, and some basic stuff in working with emissive materials. So enjoy, guys. So the only thing I wanted to mention, you guys, before we get started is to make sure that the emissive channel is added into your scene. So let's remove it and I'll show you how to do it. Plus emissive. That's all you have to do to make sure that this is going to work properly for anyone that was going to be confused. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we're going to add a base layer, and let's change the color to something nice and dark and a little purpley, but we'll go darker than that. I should mention we're only going to be using the color and roughness channels here, and let's up the roughness to, yes, let's use this map because I did this before, grunge, dirt, muddy. And you can see that we've got the nice base set up for the crystal. Let's change this scale to about 5, just to give kind of like a less or lower detail, higher detail look onto it. And that looks really nice. Maybe drop it a little more. Yeah, that's perfect, just like that. Let's go ahead and add the base glow now. So we're going to add another fill layer, but this time instead we're going to make sure that we're adding a black mask. Now on top of the black mask, we're going to be using a generator, and the generator is going to be the mask editor. So we can click on that. Now you can see this has kind of created a mask that we can actually edit by ourselves now. So let's choose the color that we want, and I'd say let's go for like a higher tinge, like a light teal turquoise, something just like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. We can edit that in a bit. So we're going to click back on the black mask into the mask editor, and let's start editing some of these parameters here so we can kind of get it to a more ambient effect. So let's up the blur a little bit. Can go to about 1.6. That looks pretty good. Balance, we'll keep it about 5.1, maybe a little more. And the contrast, we're going to bump it to 17 to pull the edges back in. Let's do 17. Great, that's looking pretty good so far. Now the next thing I want to show you guys, it's a bit of a trick. Well, not a trick, but it's a way to get this texture patterned properly and to give it another layer of almost another layer of depth that adds to the level of complexity that I was talking about. We're gonna add a texture in the image inputs here, and then we're gonna increase that texture, as you'll see. So we're gonna choose black and white spots number 3, and then with the texture opacity we're gonna up this to about 0.53, so you can actually see that it's kind of got the marbling effect, which you'll see a little better as I increase these values here. We're going to also up the AO quite a bit. There we go. And curvature can go all the way up to, let's say 0.68, just to make it a nice, give it a bit more. So for position gradient, we're going to make sure that invert is on. And we're going to change the contrast up to 14. Let's do that. We'll leave the brightness the same. Now, I completely forgot to mention this. This channel is only going to be emissive, so we will drop everything. And then from here, we can edit the color. And that'll give it a little better. That'll look much better. And the next thing, and the final thing we're going to do to kind of give this full body, is we're going to up the opacity, the position gradient opacity all the way to the top. And that'll give this kind of full gemmed look to it. If you want to control this and drop it a little more, that's totally okay as well. So let's leave it about right here for now. Normally I recommend 1, but I mean even here is going to be just okay. Now this honestly almost looks like a good enough crystal on its own, but we're going to be adding 2 more layers actually. So this goes even further. So we're going to make sure we add kind of a top glow. So it's going to be very, very similar actually to the bottom row, except it's kind of going to cover this area a little more and have a bit of a less of an emissive texture. So this is close enough to the top, so we may have to mess around with some settings. So let's change this while we're here to base, change this to bottom, and then I will Control V this and paste this layer and changes the top glow. Now this is going to keep the exact same texture, as you can see. But what we're going to do is we're going to change a few settings. So let's hop into these and we'll see exactly what we're going to have to change. So we're going to keep the blur the exact same. The opacity, we could up a little bit. The position gradient opacity, we're going to turn the invert off, and let's change the color to something a little different, maybe a little more blue, maybe a darker green. And the only other thing we're going to do here is we're going to drop the curvature opacity right down. So you can kind of see that that pulls away from the bottom and lets the top take over here and kind of give it almost a top glow. So let's drop that down a little more. And the opacity will keep just like that. Now you can mess with these controls a little bit if you really want to change it up. And we'll add a little more brightness to the bottom, just to give it its glow. And you can edit the top as you want, because either way, whatever it comes out to, it ends up looking pretty cool. You can really just mess with the colors yourself, and you can create some really, really cool effects with it. Now, I personally always like to go a little darker. That's kind of my favorite look. Like you can kind of see like the energy is kind of billowing and growing from the middle, and then it still fills the cracks, so it's kind of seeping out. If you ask me, it looks absolutely beautiful. Okay guys, so last but not least is to add the scratches around the edges, because this is looking pretty good, but it really does need just a little bit extra to push it over the edge and kind of give it that top-notch quality. So let's go ahead and add one more filter layer, or one more fill layer. Let's name it Scratches. The color itself is going to be quite gray, so we can drop that. And as usual, we're going to be adding a black mask to it. And again, the black mask is going to have a generator, and it's going to be you guessed it, the mask editor. Now this one's going to be a little different. It's kind of a trick that I wanted to show you guys, so you can kind of see how powerful the software is, how you can kind of manipulate it to do what you want. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to up the texture opacity as high as we can to 1, curvature opacity if I can grab it, all the way up. So we're going to give it some nice sharp corners. Next thing we're going to do is let's hop right into the curvature opacity options here. And we're going to drop the vast majority of these options here. So we're going to bring down let's bring down the soft all the way. Medium coming down. Large. Big. And huge. So now you can see the mask is only affecting the immediate area around the edges. So that means we can now add an image texture, and it would only affect the very, very tiny corners of it. So let's go ahead and do that, and let's throw in a grunge map. I believe it's 2 O's. Just like that. And if I'm not missing anything else, we can just drop these levels, drop everything except color, height, roughness, and we can kind of mess with the height and roughness a bit here, and that's going to start to give us the effect that we want. Maybe bump this up a little, or move this down a little bit to make it a little darker. So with the height, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to drop it. So as you can see, as we drop the height, it starts leaving these nice little indents that are kind of affected by the grunge map that we lately or earlier put on. And again, the roughness is probably, I'd say the roughness is going to be pretty good there. Okay guys, so that's pretty much everything I have for you guys. The only thing I would really do is grab a folder, save it, and then pick up all of these guys and simply drop it in there. Right click, create smart material, and you've got a smart material that you can actually drop and use onto everything. So that's pretty much it, guys, and that's how easy it is. That's how easy it is to make something that seems really complex or has multiple layers to it. It's really not that hard. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, I know you guys paid for this, so I really want to make sure that this is the best experience possible for you. Shoot me an email at stylizedstation@gmail.com, and we can kind of talk about it, what you thought about the video, maybe future things you'd like to see as well, because you guys are obviously, the most important part of this. You're the people that are supporting me and showing that you're willing to learn. So hopefully I'll be coming out with some more of these in the future. I really hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Thanks for watching Stylized Station.